So Kevin De Bruyne has announced he will leave Manchester City when his contract expires at the end of the season. The Belgium captain, having won 16 trophies since joining City from Wolfsburg in 2015 for £55 million, which some people thought was a huge amount of money at the time. But his haul includes 6 Premier League titles and the Champions League in 2023. And writing on social media on Friday, he said, "Every story comes to an end, but this has definitely been the best chapter. This will always be our home," referring to his family and his kids who were born in Manchester. "We cannot thank the city, the club, the staff, teammates, friends and family enough for this 10-year ride." Now, for about 9 of those 10 years, we were calling him Kevin De Bruyne. Then we got all the videos as commentators of players pronouncing their own names, and it's De Bruyne. So whatever. What do you think his legacy's been, Henry?
I call him KDB because I have to write about him all the time. And I don't want to sort of repeat it. I mean, 173 assists. I mean, the numbers are just extraordinary. Those assists, it shows his creativity and his selflessness. And then the 106 goals in 413 games for Manchester City. And I mean, when the sort of the news broke, or De Bruyne actually sort of announced it on Friday, I had a very enjoyable couple of hours just going through just a fraction of his goals, his best goals, and he scored all manner of goals. Only one header from a Kyle Walker cross in the Premier League, but just all sorts. I mean, I'll give you a couple here. You know, the volleys, the one from Navas's cross against Newcastle in 2015, when it was almost Van Basten style, slightly sort of different angle, and the ball, Navas's cross, came over from the right, and he had to watch it, and there was only just even a fraction of a split second that he could make that connection high in the air and lift the ball over. I think it was Tim Krul in the Newcastle goal, and I had a look back at some of the match reports, and the Guardian described it as an impossibly angled volley, and he was there. You know, he could cope with the sort of, you know, just to produce that sort of moment. And then look, we know all about his incredible shots from range as well, the free kicks, penalties. Didn't actually take so many penalties, but you know, he was good as well. But one of my favourites was a half volley when he controlled the ball. It's against Newcastle again, nothing against Newcastle, but you know, he controlled the ball on his chest, it dropped, and then he just smashed it past Dubravka, and that got the sort of November goal of the month. And then you have a debate about what is a great goal. Is it just a sort of technical thing? But if it's the 5th goal, or the sort of John Barnes when he dribbled through Brazil's defence at Maracanã, I mean, John Barnes always said if that was a competitive game, a Brazilian would have brought him down before he even got going. But so for a great goal, it often has to be in a huge occasion, and De Bruyne delivered in those as well. 2023 Champions League semi-final first leg in the Bernabeu, 25-yard equaliser. So and the other thing is, sorry, I'm rambling on about a footballer I've got huge praise for. For me, he's up with, you know, the late great Colin Bell amongst Manchester City's greatest ever players. He was great with either foot, and you know, what an example of that. I think 23 of his 70 Premier League goals came with his left foot, his supposedly quote inferior foot.
Less favoured. Yeah, I couldn't agree more on that point particularly. I don't think we talk enough about players who have the prowess to be able to deliver, score, even take free kicks, and like Lauren James, we'll probably talk about later, one of those, but players who can play so well off either foot. I mean, Anthony, imagine if he had a right foot. I mean, that'd be quite handy, wouldn't it, at Manchester United? But yeah, I mean, on Drive on Friday, Darren Bent, former Spurs and England striker, of course, joined Andy Goldstein. And Darren said that De Bruyne doesn't make it into an all-time 11 managed by Pep Guardiola.
Andre Iniesta. Oh, my goodness. I think it's him in the under 21.
Hold on, so Xavi's not in your team?
Got Andre Iniesta and Xavi. De Bruyne doesn't make it.
What?
Yeah, De Bruyne doesn't make it.
Kevin De Bruyne is not. So today's all about Kevin De Bruyne.
Yeah, he's not in it.
And Kevin De Bruyne is not. Do you want to go through it very quickly?
Yeah, I'm going Neuer, Neuer, Lahm, PK, Company, Jordi Alba, Rodri, Iniesta, Xavi, Ribery, Messi, and Haaland.
Okay, controversial.
Wow, he missed out Lewandowski and Dani Alves. I mean, look, that's great. But I mean, Darren's point about the central midfield is, I mean, you can't leave Iniesta and Xavi out. You probably have Rodri in there as well. I mean, he's just won the Ballon d'Or. How can you leave Kevin De Bruyne out? I mean, it's really, really difficult.
11s are so subjective though, because are you picking 11 best players who you can shoehorn this dude at left back and this dude on the right midfield, or are you picking a team that if they were to compete together, he would complement him and he would complement him, which is where Rodri obviously comes into play. Which
is a debate we always had with England, the golden generation. How do you fit Scholes, Gerrard, Lampard, Hargreaves, Carrick? It's absolutely is the balance, but I think it's the dream Pep 11. I think De Bruyne has to be in there because he's up with the best attacking midfielders the Premier League's seen. I know there was football pre the Premier League, and I would throw Colin Bell into that, who was a sort of a player who I admire very much from afar. Growing up, so he's just a special player, and I like the way he always looks incredible. I mean, you probably interviewed him, but he looks incredibly angry when he comes off the pitch. I interviewed him once, the only time I've done a one-on-one with him, and he was sort of very calm, but you got the impression of just someone who just wanted to talk about football. You don't really hear anything about Kevin De Bruyne apart from he goes home and he spends time with his family. He's brilliant.
Super professional, isn't he? In terms
Super
of
professional. But I love that anger when he gets substituted. He's just got that hunger to win.
He's got that edge. I commentated on him at the Euros and World Cup, I think. And that edge in interviews afterwards. He's quite happy to say something controversial if he feels it needs to be done. But interesting, the point about whether he gets into the Premier League's top 5 midfielders. Jason Burt, excellent journalist, as we well know, from The Telegraph. He did his top 5 yesterday, and he had De Bruyne as number 1. And he had Scholes as number 2, Steven Gerrard number 3, Roy Keane number 4, Patrick Vieira number 5.
I'd have Keane number 1. I just think as leader, energy, emotion, goals, will to win, fear in the tunnel, let alone for the opposition on the pitch, I just think Roy Keane just had everything. Gerrard and Lampard obviously have in there. Scholes, fantastic. Wow, I mean that's another debate, Jackie. We're going to have to extend this.
I think the show needs to be about 5 hours long, given what we've touched on here. But just final point on De Bruyne before we go to break. Jason Burt again from The Telegraph in his piece. He said, we all owe De Bruyne a debt of gratitude for persuading the Premier League captains on a Zoom call to go ahead with Project Restart in June 2020. Of course, there was the break for COVID. So David Silva was actually the City captain, but De Bruyne stepped in and represented City instead. And he said that he spoke and swayed opinion to such a degree that one Premier League official later said they would forever owe him a debt of gratitude. So character off the bench, off the pitch as well.
Absolutely. The captains in that period, Henderson, Mark Noble, Troy Deeney, were exceptional in getting things done, whether it's raising money or getting the game back going again for the Premier League.
OK, this is the Sunday edition with Jackie Oatley and Henry Winter. Up next with Chelsea Women's going for history.
On AM, on DAB, via the TalkSport app and on your smart speaker. TalkSport.